Good morning. Today I wanted to take just 2 minutes or so and do a quick maybe review or just overall thoughts on the Ray Allen Buddy Bowl. It's specifically a watering dish for dogs, and it falls into the category of no spill or low mess, low spill traveling water dishes, and it does that quite well. It is one of the better ones in the category, but there is a couple issues with it. Finn's had this now for about a month. In that time, he's used it as a travel bowl, he's used it as a daily bowl, and then he's also had periods where I've not let him use it at all, just because I cannot get it apart to clean it, and it takes too long at that time, and so I'll use his backup bowl. We've also put about 800 kilometers of travel on. That's about 500 miles for our US friends during this month. So we have road tested it, and it did quite well overall. I paid $35 for this, and that's about 25 US. And it's currently for sale, though, listed at about 75 on Amazon. I'm not entirely sure why. I'm not sure if I got a really good deal or if they've raised the price at the moment, but it is Amazon after all. Let's just get the elephant in the room out of the way first. Its design or aesthetics is not great. My wife says it looks like a child's porta potty, and she's not wrong. It does get some strange looks when people come in, and if they don't know what it is, or they'll often wonder where the child is, because we don't have any kids right now. So it's not. I don't know what they could have done to make it look better, because obviously function and design is most important. But I think there would be maybe some way, maybe even just a color scheme might help it some. But I did want the clear. This is one thought. They offer colors. They offer black. The clear is nice because it helps when you're cleaning. If you miss a spot, it's easier to see, and it also helps with the water level. And when you're in terms of filling it, when you're filling the water level, they put a line on this inside cone, and the line's about halfway up, and that's the max fill line. I believe anything over that, and it could spill. I have overfilled it and have been fine, but the funny thing is that when you have this apart and you're filling it just as a bowl, there's no fill line on the actual container. So unless you're filling in through the cone, which has this tiny hole at the bottom, which only has maybe 1/16 of an inch or less of clearance between the bottom of the hole and the bottom of the container, otherwise you're just sort of taking a guess, or you're sticking the cone in. It's just not the best idea or best thought, but it is what it is. It does work. Hopefully Ray Allen Manufacturing will take some of their users' views into consideration, and they'll make a version 2.0, and maybe that'll be something that they can incorporate as a sight line on the outside, or sorry, on the inside of the main outer bowl. The biggest issue, and this is the reason it's going back, is getting the lid off. And you really got to work at it. I'm not exactly a weakling. When there's water in it, it gets really messy, and I've spilled water all over myself on the floor just in the process of getting the lid off. But I found that sometimes if you push down in the middle with your hand and then work your finger around the seam on the edge, it'll be enough to break it. So that's the lid part, obviously. Then this cone is like a friction fit, and it seals itself in. I don't know if they're supposed to or not, but they sort of do. And this is the line right here that I was talking about, the water fill line. So there we go. But other than that, I mean, it's 3 parts. It's easy to clean. There aren't really any weird crevices. There's this little check valve, little vent valve in here. It's very simple. It's a steel ball bearing in a little plastic cage. You know, I didn't have any issues with that actually needing cleaning, but if you needed to, you could get in there with a Q-tip and that'd be fine. I like to clean my water dishes if I can, maybe every 3rd day or so. It depends, of course, on where you live, what the temperature is, if there's dust in the air and stuff like that. Finn spends a lot of time outdoors, and so it's not uncommon for him to bring stuff in with him without knowing it, and then when he takes a drink of the water bowl, it falls into the water dish. And I've also noticed that around maybe 5 days or so, it's when the biofilm starts to sort of form, and you know what that sort of the slippery scum. You probably experienced that too, and we don't want that, obviously. All the dogs are pretty impervious to most of these things. There's no point tempting fate. So put it back together. It goes quite easily back together. This is the main sealing lip. And sometimes that leaks. Not all the time, and maybe not often, but I think a couple of times I haven't had it on tight enough. And when carrying it, the water will slosh in this part. It'll slosh and it won't come out. It won't come out here over the top, but as it gets funneled back in, some of it will leak on the outer edge. Like I said, it's not every time. That could be user error, but it did happen more than once. Putting it back together is not so bad. Just work your way around it, and that's all there is to it. Once again, to pull it apart, it's pretty tough. They give you a tab, which kind of helps some, but yeah, exactly. When I picked this up, I noticed that the design was a little different than a lot of the others out there. It doesn't have a small drinking amount in the bottom. Some of the other ones, including one of the other portable ones that Finn has, only allows in, you know, maybe whatever, 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch of water between the bottom of the screen, the float, the base, whatever it is, and then to what the dog can drink off of. And for a larger breed like Finn, who's 90 pounds, that doesn't give him a lot of water. It takes him a long time to drink at it. And I've noticed that he started to become discouraged with his other dish, simply because it would take so long to drink, and he would wait until we'd get to the fountain upstairs, or till we'd go outside and he could find a large puddle, and he'd drain that. If I could make an addition or have sort of a wish list change to this product that would make me purchase it again and keep it, and probably purchase 2 or 3 for that matter, I would change the interface between the top, the cone, and the base. I would take off this press fit lid seam, and I would put on something like a clamshell design, which would be 2 surfaces coming together, and then there's a band clamp that goes around the outside. It would be a geared thumb screw type band clamp, no tools needed. It would be quick. It would use the advantage of the screw thread, so it wouldn't matter if you're not particularly strong. Right now, as it is, my wife cannot open this or clean it, and I mean, she's a farm girl, so she's pretty tough, but here's what it is. So maybe something like that, Ray Allen, to consider. Let's talk about a couple of the good things about this. The overall idea for this is excellent. The label that it's been given, that they gave it as spill-proof, that obviously gets used a lot. If you look through the advertising, the various water bowls, travel bowls, you'll see spill-proof or almost spill-proof or mess resistant, etc., etc. This is the closest I have seen to actually being spill-proof. You can, and I have tried this with a full one, rotate it like this at about this speed, completely upside down. You won't lose water. At least I didn't. Maybe if you hold it upside down and shake or whatnot, I don't know. I'm not testing fate. Don't do it over your computer if you try it. But either way, in general use, in the car, just lying around on the house or out in the yard, it is an excellent go-to bowl for keeping the water in where it should be. And secondary on that is that the design, the way that Finn has to drink, it really helps keep a lot of the excess water inside here when he's done. He's got some bigger jowls on him, or chops, than maybe like a typical lab, because he is an English, and he can water the floor pretty well when he's done drinking. And this almost eliminates the puddles. You know, we went from maybe wiping up a quarter to half a cup on the floor to a few little spots, you know, just an inch or so in diameter. So that's pretty neat. I don't know exactly how that works, but it is something to do with the geometry of how the dog has to drink. And I believe on their website they do comment on this as being a known benefit or being purposeful. The other thing I really like about this is they made it out of polyethylene, and that was really smart of them. I suspect that there would have been some cheaper options, but polyethylene is very, very resilient. It is heat resilient. It doesn't warp easily if you leave it out in the sun. It is abrasion resilient. You could have something against it, and that's really important. You know, there's a few scratches on here where my tripod leg, the spike on it, rubbed against it, and you can't see them looking at them unless you look just for the glare. The other thing about polyethylene is that it's generally non-toxic. I don't know if it all is by design, but this is apparently an FDA approved, and I suspect that that means that it's a food grade, you know, so like a Tupperware container kind of thing. So there's some thought, there's some ideas, some opinions. I hope this helps in looking at travel bowls as the weather gets warmer and you have to decide how you're going to pack water around. If you're like us, Finn can drink quite a bit of water in a day, and so using a small collapsible dish is not always the easiest thing, because I prefer it if he doesn't have to load up in water, you know, all in one big shot, and he will if he can. Given the opportunity, he will only drink twice a day, and he'll drink a lot at each time. But by having the water with him while he travels, he can drink just as he needs, and I think that overall is healthier for him, less concerns of maybe gastric torsion or just general complications. Hope this helps, and enjoy your day.